Welcome back to Titanium Hanger. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with the EARTHRISE Grapple, and this is an excellent figure. I think that Hasbro did a good job. From the preliminary pictures, we kind of thought there might be some issues with it here and there. Guess what? This one is great. A really good update to the actual G1 figure. The best G1 grapple in the modern line, hands down. Let's get right into it. So here it is in the packaging. Packaging looks good. There's the side. This is the EARTHRISE packaging everybody's talking about. On the back shows you both modes, some accessibility with that new shield piece. The side you see grapple. There's the top, there's the bottom. But one funny thing about this is when you open it up, there's two things. First of all, this thing here, you can pretty much see the red line, but when you put the little decoder up, there's nothing. There's really nothing for this. It's kind of a waste. My first experience with the EARTHRISE and this whole gimmick, and nothing. The other thing is when you take the figure out, there's no bands holding it in. It's actually just held in by the plastic shell. So when you put it back in the box, I guess it'll be easy to put it back in the box. Have a good look at this guy. He looks great. There is storage for everything on here. So every single accessory in the box is stored on them right now. And so there's this arm cannon. You do see some pins, which is unsightly, but it is what it is. This is painted. We've got, these are not rubber tires, in case you're wondering. This is paint, and then most of the orange itself is actual plastic, and some of it's painted, like right here, and some of it's just plastic. So there is some variation in the orange color. You do have a beautiful tampograph there, not a sticker. Paint here, paint in there, paint in here. And not a ridiculous amount of paint, but it does look good. And for a grapple, that is a nice looking grapple. So let's look at a couple of the features that this guy has. Obviously, you can do stuff with this grapple hook, and it has this piece right here that it will interact with some of the other figures, so you can kind of peg them in there, so you can kind of hold some figures in there. That's a pretty cool little option that it's got. With this gun, it can store here or anywhere there's a 5mm port. This is a tricky gun because of the way it's designed, so they did kind of give you more options. So there's 5mm ports on each side and on the back, so you can really plug it in anywhere you want. Well, that's not a 5mm port, that's just decoration. But anyway, you can still plug it in anywhere you want and any way you want. Like that. It works. That's a little bit tighter than the way I had it originally, but yeah, there it goes. Now looking at his crane, this is something interesting that they did that I kind of like. You just flip it out and now you have a hook. And so I guess you tie a string to it, you have a wrecking ball on there, whatever. You could lift up beams, metal, steel beams, whatever. But I kind of like this the most though, simply because to me it works the best. So I like that, and I put that right there. But anyway, you could also pull this out and plug this in, and you could spray some stuff. Now what would you spray? I don't know, just whatever that yellow one is. But coincidentally, you can store this right here where that other thing plugged in. It fits. That fits onto here if that's something that you're wanting to do, but it won't go all the way down all the way. But it fits better and stores better in robot mode. Let's compare this guy to the G1 counterpart, and he does look a bit cleaner, I guess you could say. He's longer, shorter, and it's just different. With the G1, you do have the extending, and with this one you have extending also. It doesn't extend out as far as the G1, but I think it does look better. If you're looking at, say, the front end, I do think it looks better That's just my opinion. But the G1 still looks good because the G1's always tried to nail the alt mode. So these are some Generations classics, whatever, that people are kind of used to for comparison. That's how big he is. He is a Voyager scale, so he's going to be bigger than them. Playing around in the alt mode, let's go ahead and get him into bot mode, which is a lot more fun in my opinion. So we can go ahead and get this out of the way here. And we're going to disconnect the arms. They peg in right here into these semi-half holes. I mean, they're holes, but they don't seem like they're all the way. They're like open on the outside. So anyway, so you can split the arms and bring them around and just tap them in. And you got that done. Lift this up. I do like to do the legs first, but we're gonna have to disconnect this. From the feet. Yep, that was fun. And really you're just gonna rock the feet in place. All kinds of articulation. That's part of transformation. We'll get to that when we get to articulation. So let's move this camera up just a bit. And then we have to compress all this. Just accordions down. And you can put that in place to get his head. We're going to fold this down. Close all this up. And we need to bring the head out. Now with the head out, the head should clip into place just fine. Right like this. Works really well. Which is painted versus not painted. You see the difference in the color and the sheen on that. So let's move around to the arms. Get them situated just right. Fold out the hands to expose. Yes, there's some gappage there, which people have been complaining about from the pictures already. We know that. It's not a big deal to me. Actually, I think you don't really notice it. In a mainline, it's not the end of the world. A cover for that would have been nice. Some gappage there. But let's go ahead and get into looking at this guy now that he is all transformed up. Looking at his eyes have a little bit of there's some blue paint to it. It looks nice. It's nice and reflective, kind of almost glowing. Looks great. His face, I love that silver. It's the same kind of metallic silver that's here and here and here, but this one looks a little different. We've got that symbol still there, and then of course the clear headlights, which I actually didn't point that out in alt mode. Going down, this is painted, this is plastic, and then there's stuff that carries over from the alt mode. He's pretty clean in the back, but the biggest complaint people had about him so far in the pictures is that he had some openings here. It was kind of, I guess you could say, waffly. In person, it really does not look bad. It looks good, it looks fine. But this is probably the worst part here, and I don't think that that's that bad, really. I mean, this is a good looking figure. They've done a lot with it. Let's go ahead and look at the articulation. Head, it'll do a 360 for you. Mine's a little loose. I popped mine off by mistake, but so it's a little looser than it was when I first got it. And then shoulder all the way around. You got a 90 swivel. You don't have a 90 elbow, which it looks like it could have been, but I guess it's not. And then the fist just kind of goes in and out for the transformation. And then you have the waist swivel. So, I mean, just really up there. And okay, check it out. You don't have hip flaps. The hip flaps go with the hip. Okay, yeah, it's not really. But you're 90, back to the 90, out to the 90, you get the splits. And then 90 on the knee. You have thigh swivel. And you've got quite a bit of articulation here, but this is another one of those cases of the transformation, because of the transformation you can do pretty much what you want to do with it, but that is great. Now I heard some people have broke this, so be careful. There's some reports people broke the ankle straight out of the box, so be careful with that part. And let's go ahead and get into comparisons now. So here he is next to the G1, and yeah, I need to locate the rest of his parts and get another wheel on him and stuff, but anyway, he's the G1. This looks vastly better than the G1 counterpart. The articulation is, what, 20 times better than this guy? And here he is from the back. Still looks better. Now, of course, this is all solid, and this is a little bit open. I'd rather have this than this for action figure, but of course for, I guess, memories, having this. Here he is next to Prime and Megs, and okay, so we're looking at $30 figures here. All of these are $30 figures. And when you look at this, he's a little smaller, but I still feel like he's great value because he does what he needs to do. He does it well. He looks good. Comes with everything he needs. So yeah, still have the value. Even though he's a tad smaller than the other ones, it's the size he's supposed to be. I'm gonna go ahead and give that to Hasbro. And Takara. Good job, Takara. Let's put him up next to a Seeker from Siege and next to a Triple Changer from Siege. So he's taller than Springer. Springer should be bigger. I admit, Springer needs to be bigger. But these guys are about the right height. That looks good. And here he is next to KO Oversized Deluxes, the Oimek, or Black Mamba, or the improved versions. But, you know, he is supposed to be bigger than both these guys, so kind of not in scale. Hopefully that Black Mamba does these, so that this guy could be possibly a Masterpiece stand-in. Speaking of that, here he is next to my two Masterpiece versions. That's MMC, that's official KO. But we're not comparing size. We're comparing aesthetic, and aesthetic-wise, he is good. He's not quite to either of the MP levels in aesthetic, but he's really close. And for a mainline, for $30 versus, he was 120 when he came out. I think I got him for like 60 on sale. And then this guy was, I don't know, 140 or something when he came out. So 160, I don't know. But $30, way less than these guys. Aesthetic-wise, looks good. Look at some of these accessories that he has. Well, if you come around to his back here and you pop this off, we're gonna put that on his arm, and then you can put this grapple piece in there. And this really is the bot mode, the robot mode storage for that. So when you flip this hand around, on either side you get this same thing exposed, so you can put that in his hand, which looks good. And of course you can put the gun in his hand, and there are his accessories. There he is armored up, and that really does work for me. This is the EARTHRISE Grapple. This is my first EARTHRISE figure, my first review of it, and so far EARTHRISE is looking great. EARTHRISE takes everything that was good about Siege and brings it to an ultimate G1 aesthetic in both modes, and this is an excellent first offering for me to get my hands on. Didn't have any fun with the packaging, but maybe that's on the other ones. In every one of these accessories is integrated so well. I'm very pleased with that. I'm impressed with it. The articulation is great. Not really any poses that I have trouble putting them in, and the look, he nails it. There's enough paint on it that makes it worthwhile. I think it's a great figure. I think that if all the rest of the figures are this good, EARTHRISE is going to be outstanding line. Like, subscribe to Dream, hang around.